we have to start establishing that this is our place. From here on out, hey, this is what we play for. We're better safe than them. Let's go. Come on, go get it now. Let's go.
Welcome to the Dan Majerle Show. We are here inside the brand new Jerry Colangelo Museum. Coach, great to see you as we begin another season of GCU men's basketball. But let's begin by looking around this beautiful museum. What are your thoughts?
It is great, and no one more deserving than Mr. Colangelo to be able to walk through here and kind of see a snippet of his life from his younger days to everything he's accomplished, not only in Phoenix and in Arizona, but across the world. So a great tribute to him, and what a more fitting place to be in the lobby of our brand new practice facility. So yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Well, let's get some thoughts on that, the new practice facility. It is such a huge asset for your program.
It's great. You know, we talked about when I first got here, I said, well, eventually we're going to need a practice facility, and we did it. President Mueller's done a fantastic job. I get to see my guys a lot more. Our offices are right here. It's perfect for our players. They can come in here 24/7, work out, get a lot of work in, a fantastic film room, a player's lounge. But just more than anything, a recruiting tool that we can show players that how serious we are about our basketball here at GCU, and it's really good for our players.
It's amazing this day has finally arrived. 4-year wait. I'm sure it was longer than perhaps sometimes that you would hoped for.
But quick and long.
Yep.
But it's great that it's here, and I think you know, everybody from the university's president to the whole school to my coaching staff to the players, I think we've done a terrific job of preparing for this day. I mean, to win 81 games in 4 years of a transition period has never been done. We set the record on that. We're voted to win the WAC by both the media and the coaches, which doesn't mean a dang thing, but it does tell you that we've done everything right as far as preparing our guys for this opportunity. So we're excited about it.
Well, one of those guys that helped build that foundation among some other players, the Jerome Garrisons and the others, is Dwayne Russell, and he's going to be sorely missed here. He's playing professionally in France. Casey Benson is stepping in, not a bad player to step in Dwayne's absence after graduating from GCU, but talk a little bit about that transition.
Well, it's tough when you lose a guy like Dwayne, not only in games, but to day-to-day practices. I mean, his competitiveness is second to none, and he set the culture for what we wanted to do, and you could always count on a Dwayne. So just a terrific player, an even better person, and it's somebody you'll miss always. But as you said, it's one of those long line of guys who helped build this program when we couldn't go to the tournament. So guys like Killian and Jerome and Blake, and you know, I don't want to miss anybody. You can keep going on, and then Dwayne, guys like that help us build. So Casey, as you said, is a great guy to step in because he is another guy who's ultra competitive, has won his whole career, had 3 state championships here as a high school player, went to Oregon, was a big part of their program, was a big part of their Final Four last year. So he'll step in and fill in nicely.
Another local product has stuck around long enough to see this day is Josh Braun, named the preseason player of the year by the coaches and media of the Western Athletic Conference. Your thoughts about Josh? He looks pretty trim and fit.
Happy for Josh. First guy I ever signed. My first recruit's been through a lot. Lost 15 pounds. He's looking good. Has stayed healthy. I expect a great year out of him. I mean, he's been all WAC first team 2 years in a row, been first team academic All-American for 2 years in a row. He should be the WAC player of the year preseason. There's nobody more deserving than him. Another culture guy who comes to work every day, practices hard, and represents our university in the best way. So I'm excited for Josh to have a great year. No more fitting way than if we were able to win the WAC and win the tournament and go to the NCAA tournament for Josh, because he deserves all that stuff.
Let's talk about a couple of other players returning. Jared Martin, always a defensive standout for you. Matt Jackson, and a fellow Australian, look like he's coming back from injury.
Knock on wood, huh?
Oh, yeah, he hit the right spot for
Matt
sure.
Matt was sorely missed last year. Hopefully he stays healthy this year. Both him and Jared are extremely smart, high IQ guys. Do a lot of things you don't see in the box score. Matt can really shoot it, spreads the floor, great passer, and just knows what we're trying to do. And Jared, it's hard to keep him off the floor. Had a terrible year last year offensively, has been great in practice, so I expect him to bounce back offensively. Is a lot more athletic this year, is in great shape. So if both those guys are able to stay healthy, and it'll be a big part of what we're supposed to do.
I want to also talk to you about Oscar Freyer, Shaq Carr, Damari Milstead, fellow teammate of Oscar's at Moreau Catholic in Oakland, as well as Fifi Adu, these 4 players.
Yeah, well, we'll start with Fifi and Oscar first. I mean, guys who played a lot as a freshman, had terrific summers, I expect them to be a big part of what we're doing this year. They both got a lot more confidence, especially Fifi. Fifi didn't really know what to expect as a freshman. He's got a lot of more talent than he gives himself credit for. And he's starting to figure out that he could be a really good player. And then Oscar mentally has really turned it on, and he understands with his athleticism he could be something special. I'm excited to see those two guys. Shaq is another guy that sometimes it takes for junior college kids a year to kind of focus in on what we want to do here. And this summer's been great for him. He is an all-in team guy now. I expect him to have a big year. I think Casey and him will play a lot together. He can move Casey off the ball. Damari had a great practice. I think he's going to be good. The only thing about him, he's got 2 seniors ahead of him. Yeah. So he's just going to have to wait his time, which is fine. He's got 2 really good guys to learn from. Damari is a young, just turned 18, but I expect really good things from him on down the line. And who knows, maybe this year, but we'll have to wait and see.
Before we go to break, I want to talk about the 2 big men that you signed from Europe, Lever and also Roberts Blumbergs.
Very excited. Both highly recruited, highly touted guys that we beat out high major universities for. Alessandro, 6'10", post guy, plays a lot like a Marc Gasol, got great touch around the basket, can really stretch the floor, shoots it from 15, great touch around the basket, can really pass it, highly competitive. Roberts, 6'9.5", stretch 4, shoots the you-know-what out of it. It's got to find a little bit of competitiveness, but both those guys, I'm very anxious to see where they end up because they could be really good in 4 years.
Definitely got me excited for the start of the season. We'll take a short timeout. Be back with more of the Dan Majerle Show after this timeout. Welcome back to the Dan Majerle Show. Barry Buetel alongside, the rest of the crew. Kate Longworth, Paul Coro, and Scott Williams. Guys, great to see you guys, but we're welcoming in Paul Coro. Hey. He's here at GCU and going to be part of our coverage on the television side all season long. Paul, welcome to this motley group.
Thanks. Known Scotty a while. Yep. Great to be part of this crew and be here on especially such a historical season.
It is a historical season. 4 years. What a long wait it's been, Kate. But some guys have set the foundation. Remember Jerome Garrison, the Killian Larsons of the world, Grandy Glaze. We enjoyed his season here as well. And then last year with Dwayne Russell.
I know. I've just been so excited because I think when I first came aboard here, I remember getting goosebumps just watching a video in the arena. That was before the fans had even filtered in. And then seeing what they've been like the past couple of years and now knowing everything is on the line now. Can they get more pumped up? But with Midnight Madness, the answer is yes, they can. And I just think it's amazing. And it's funny you mentioned Grandy Glaze. I was following him on Twitter, and he just said how excited he was seeing a commercial for GCU on NBA TV type thing. And it's just, Grand Canyon is out there, and people know that the Lopes are a force to reckon with on the court.
Scott, it's been a 4-year wait. It's been a little bit long, but certainly everything is in place this year.
It really has. It's been very exciting. I think this team has come such a long way. Coach Majerle has really put his stamp on this program. They play hard, they play smart, intelligent basketball, which is just a pleasure to watch.
Paul, you've seen it. Now joining GCU and covering this team on a daily basis. You've seen it from the outside, now you're on the inside. This team and this university is recognized.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it goes beyond being a strong mid-major program. It's getting to the level of, okay, now we're getting national attention as a potential top 24 program, a potential tournament team. You look at everything was geared toward this season, from taking the Spain trip to get an early start on things, to being Josh's senior year, to Casey coming in. It's all fit together.
Scott, you've been on teams, obviously, 3 NBA championships. What happens when a guy like Dwayne Russell, kind of your go-to guy, is no longer here? Obviously, some guys are going to be stepping up, but how's he going to be missed?
He's going to be missed for his leadership and his speed that he brought to this basketball club. We need a steady point guard. Casey Benson, you mentioned, is going to be playing the point guard position. Guy coming from Oregon, Final Four experience. That's the kind of leadership that you're going to have because you're going to have a lot of ups, but you're going to have some downs along the long road of a basketball program. And you need that guy who can steady that ship. Be an extension of the coaching staff out there on the floor. Make sure everybody's in the right position on the right page before you take the basketball floor. So there's no slow starts to basketball games. When you get into a position where things may not be going so well, there's no splintering, that you're always one unit when you're out on the court.
Paul, you talked to Casey, and of course his brother TJ is an assistant coach on this team. He's got to be excited to be part of this program.
Oh my gosh, he's been amazed about everything. I think this time of year in Oregon is always football season, and then he sees people lined up half a mile across the campus for Midnight Madness, not even a game, and they're lined up. It's pretty exciting for him to be part of this in his hometown at this time in this university.
Casey, being part of this program, Final Four appearance with Oregon, having somebody like that be able to plug him right in,
I know,
That's amazing.
It's incredible, and I think what's been so unique too about GCU is they're only going to get stronger. I've been so impressed with the fact that they haven't been tournament eligible, but the talent's been there, the record has been there. I think Dan Majerle just really sets a standard that no matter what they're playing for from day one, they were playing for the tournament, even if it was going to be in 3 years or whatnot. And I think Casey's just going to come out there a lot like Dwayne, and he'll be an extension, like you said, of Dan Majerle. You know, we always heard Dwayne joke that Dan Majerle was like his dad, and he was like that extension out on the court. So I think with that pedigree and that experience, and obviously his familiarity with the coaching staff, hopefully we'll see more of that on the court.
Well, Dwayne's gone, but his good buddy is still here. It seems like he's been here quite a while, but it's so great to have Josh Braun, nice trim fit Josh Braun as a leader on the court.
Well, he's just a fantastic player. He's kind of that Swiss Army knife, can do a little bit of everything. He set a school record for three-pointers last year. He can guard even power forwards down low. He runs the floor. He's great passing the ball. He's got good court vision, and he's a smart, intelligent basketball player. He not only knows what he's supposed to be doing on the floor, but what everybody else is supposed to be doing on the floor. And he's so positive. He just uplifts everybody's spirit. He's a raw guy. When he makes a big shot, when somebody else makes a big shot, he's the first one over to congratulate him. He's not afraid to step in, take a charge of a big guy coming down the lane after somebody maybe had blown an assignment. He's there to get their back. And that type of selflessness just breeds itself throughout the basketball team, and it just becomes infectious, and you get everybody playing the same way.
Do we see now, Paul, perhaps him feeling a little bit more comfortable because they have the pieces in place now, the additions that have been added to this team, that he's going to fit in and really find a groove?
Yeah, I mean, he can still star, and there's still somebody to set him up and Casey Benson to get his points, but now Dan Majerle talks all the time about this being the most balanced, deepest team he has. You bring in those two big freshmen, 6'10 guys, Roberts Bloombergs and Alessandro Lever. That immediately changes the look of the team. In the airport, they look like a real basketball team, right?
They got some size now. Yes, absolutely, little beef. But they needed that.
But you got bigs who can shoot. You know, Jared Martin, Matt's healthier again. Now you have depth at the guard position. You bring guys like Shaq Carr and Fifi off the bench. His biggest problem now is figuring out a rotation because he has so much talent.
Yeah, I remember a few years ago, he just did not even have anybody to go to on the bench. Now he's got some players he can turn to and really support coming off the bench.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's key because we've seen in the past years, too, the roles those bench players can have. They're given the opportunity. Hopefully, no injury bug. I think they've had their share of that in the past. But, you know, Dan Majerle just works such a system where he wants, when your number's called, you step up and you step in those shoes that you need to fill out there, and he demands that of you. And I think that we've seen some good bench presence, and now those guys are going to know they have a bigger part on this team, and I think we'll see that evidence.
And last year, your favorite Martin, he started to come off the bench, and it seemed like that he kind of liked that, you know, not being in the pressure of that starting five.
Yeah, he seems to be one of these guys that'll do whatever is asked of him. Sometimes that pressure of having to go out there and take the toughest assignment maybe hurt his offensive game a little bit. Now when he's coming there, coming off the bench, he can look to be a little bit more aggressive offensively, knowing maybe he's spelling a Russell, maybe he's spelling Josh Braun, and has to be a little bit more aggressive eyeing the basket. But he's another one of these players, just as a scrapper. He's not afraid to dive on the floor, run the floor in transition, even though he may not even get the ball, but just to shrink the defense and let somebody else get an 18-footer instead of a 21-footer makes a lot of difference, and coaches appreciate that.
I want to see him shoot more.
Yeah, that's true. We do need him to shoot more, right? Please don't be afraid to shoot.
Yeah.
How about the two young guys? Fifi Adu looks like he's more confident on and off the court, and Oscar Freyer, this kid seems like he's got the it factor.
Yeah, and I think those are two of the guys who last year we were so excited about and seeing, and I think they were just getting their place in. Everything's a transition in your first year, you know? And I think now we're going to see that confidence with them. They have that relationship now with Coach, and they have that swagger, if you will, about them. They know what it's like to be a Lopes basketball player, and it won't be shock and awe when you walk into that arena. They know what to expect, and they know how to play with the crowd and have that energize their play out there.
Yeah, Freyer looked like poised last year, and Fifi is really coming on strong.
Yeah, he had one of the most impressive off seasons. He played with the Finnish national team, and it seemed to really help him. His game was already coming along, but he came into practices here, and even though he had been away from the team, he was ready to go and in shape. And then Oscar, he's just a show every time he touches the ball. You know, everybody just kind of clears out and sees what he can do.
Yeah, he's such a high wire act, but I really like him on the defensive end too. He's got those long active arms. He gets in the passing lanes. He creates disruption for the other team's offense. He blocks shots, led the team in block shots a year ago. I think as he's gotten even put on a little bit more weight and muscle this year, he'll be even more fearless in getting on the boards as well.
It's going to be a great season, some great road games, Louisville, Illinois, also at home. It all starts November 2nd. This team is ready. GCU's team's ready. We hope you're ready for all the action, guys. We'll see you on the 2nd.
Can't wait.
All right, thanks for tuning in. Stay with us. More of the Dan Majerle Show coming up right after this timeout. Welcome back to the Dan Majerle Show. Barry Buetel, joined by the head coach of GCU women's basketball, Nicole Powell. And Nicole, we are in this beautiful new museum. Isn't this? This is very nice. I almost have to speak kind of quietly in here, don't
I feel like that. It's inspirational that every day I walk in here to my office, I get to come through here.
It wasn't very quiet here a few Fridays ago. Midnight Madness, your first exposure to Midnight Madness. Tell us what your impressions were.
Where do I start? I feel like I'm not going to do it justice. It was incredible. The energy, the student body. They put on a spectacular show, honestly, from the dance team to the band to everybody else who was involved. It was just fantastic to be a part of.
You brought a few new faces into this roster this year. You were very, very busy after the announcement was made and the press conference. You pretty much left the press conference and went right on the recruiting trail. How is the summer? How did it lead up until the season as far as recruiting?
Exactly. I hit the road immediately. Only having 6 players returning. Obviously, we needed to fill the team this year, and I think given the fact that it was so late in the season, I think we got some really good pieces, all high character kids, which is the number one priority, so that we can be competitive this season.
And you'll need some support as well when all these new faces join the team and blend with those 6. You've got a really great assistant coaching staff. Can you talk a little bit about them?
Oh my God. I would love to talk about my assistant coaches. I'll start off with Nikki Blue, who's been coaching for 10 years. Former WNBA player, UCLA All-American point guard, right? Most point guards turn into coaches at some point, I think. Nice. She's an incredible human being, knows the game inside and out, and really great addition. We've got Taylor High from Texas Women's University, great skill development, and excellent. He's going to be leading our defense this year, so that's kind of his role. And then we've got Brad Langston, who comes to us from University of Hawaii. And again, high energy guy, great on the floor and player development. That's kind of been his forte, and an excellent recruiter as well. So I think we've got a really well-rounded staff. We're high energy, and we have a lot of fun together.
Well, one of those players that we need to talk about that's returning is Bree Mobley. She got some nice preseason accolades. She averaged over 16 points per game last season. What are your impressions early on of Bree?
First of all, those are well-deserved accolades. She's the best player on our team, hands down, and I expect a lot out of her this season. Our team needs her. She's got experience. She's got, an excellent mid-range game, and I think for her it's just putting it together, every single day, putting it together. We've asked her to expand her game a little bit in some of her weaknesses, and she's really taken on that challenge, and I think she's excited about what this year holds for herself and for our team.
And some of the new faces can't wait to come out to GCU Arena to see them in action, but some great stories like Kavita from India, Allison Payton from Tampa, her father is an ex-Navy SEAL, and then Florence at 6'3". Nice to have somebody with some height.
Absolutely. All 3 of those are great pickups. I think every new face on our team is a great pickup. But talking about Kavita, she's just what a great story, like you said, inspirational in her journey from India to the IMG Academy to Kansas to JUCO. She's been around the world, plays for her national team. She's just an amazing young woman, and I think we're lucky to have her. Florence Shimanga coming to us last minute here was a great pickup, and she's bringing it. She's got great size, great hands, and so that's the blueprint for a really good post player.
And she's from Montreal. You say India, Montreal. It's definitely an international flavor.
Exactly, nothing wrong with that.
And then Peyton from Tampa. Here's a player that played quarterback.
She did
in high school as well. She seems like she might be a leader.
She absolutely is. She's a great student in the classroom as well, a really well-rounded young woman. And I think that's something that, every kid on our team brings to the table. They're all, of course, basketball players, but they're much more than that. I think our team chemistry has been really great, and that's really special when you have so many new faces coming in with the old.
You, of course, were a standout right here in the Phoenix area. You go as an All-American at Stanford. You go on to be a coach at the assistant coaching level with a team that would go to the Final Four.
Elite
You
Eight.
played, Elite
Elite
Eight.
Eight.
I'm sorry, I pushed you
Final Four
forward.
would
You
be
should have
nice.
won that one.
Yeah.
Also played in the WNBA. Obviously, your credentials are there. What has that background done for you to instill you into this position?
It's just prepared me for this moment. You know, you don't realize it at the time, kind of where your journey will take you. All the different coaches I've had, all the different situations I've been in, from being an all-star to also being that bench player. I think I really understand what every kid on our team is going through in their different roles. And certainly having lots of different coaches and lots of different styles, and I've picked up the things across the years that I like, and some of the things that I want to make sure that I avoid. And you kind of develop your own personal style, and that's what I'm doing here.
Is there an intangible, knowing that you went to the utmost level? Obviously, great players are needed. You need to have talent. Is there an intangible that you look for that makes a winning team?
In the whole, you've got to have really good chemistry. You can have a collection of really good players and not go anywhere.
Right.
But if you've got a collection of players that have a chemistry where they really bond, where they really get along and fight for one another, that can carry you over the top if you don't quite have the talent. So looking for high character kids, grittiness is something that we look for, and how competitive you are. How you carry yourself on the floor, willing to compete for yourself, but also willing to compete for your teammate.
That's awesome. Well, they'll have high character, they'll have grit, and they'll be on the court coming up in just a few weeks. Nicole, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Nicole Powell, head coach of the GCU women's basketball team. Stay with us. More of the Dan Majerle Show continues after we take this time out.
The students just absolutely love it. They camp out. It's sort of like a community. They all are best friends with one another. I think that brings it a little bit closer. Then they love joining in and being cool with us, and they're just really nice guys. That's what makes it really easy to get along with them.
Midnight Madness was crazy senior year, and it's always crazy. But this year was a whole other level.
Shaq, how do you feel about Midnight Madness?
Midnight Madness was a blast, man. It was crazy. How'd you feel about it?
I thought Midnight Madness was amazing.
The hype is ridiculous. I think the momentum that the school has, that the program has, is obviously extremely exciting. Chance to go to the NCAA tournament, be the first team in school history. It's exciting. Obviously, it's going to be a ton of hard work, but we're looking forward to it. I think we have a chance to be really, really good, and it's going to be a fun year.
Stay with us. More of the Dan Majerle Show continues after this timeout. Welcome back to the Dan Majerle Show. Time enough to wrap things up by talking about the upcoming schedule this season. Some big matchups, a lot of home games to start the season. Then you've got St. John's back in a place you're familiar with downtown.
Yeah, we're excited. We've been practicing for a long time. Going to that the Spain trip, we were allowed to practice earlier, so our guys are just chomping at the bit to go play other people. And it's always good to have a lot of home games because of the crowd and the atmosphere we have. And then to be able to play in a doubleheader with Texas A&M and U of A and play at the old Suns Arena, it's going to be really exciting for our guys, and it'll be a good test for us. St. John's is going to be a really good team. So we're excited about our schedule, excited about our year. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a heck of a ride, and 4 years have gone by quickly, but we've prepared for this.
Remember, it all begins November 2nd against St. Francis in that exhibition opener as the season gets underway. Coach, good luck to you this year, and good luck the rest of the way.
Always good.
Well, appreciate it. I know this is an overjoyful moment
for everything. Good to be back.
Thanks so much for tuning into the Dan Majerle Show.